How's it going, everyone? We've got some pretty exciting news here and something that I would love to see more of, at least the idea of this, and that is a God of War spin-off title, a 2.5D one, a Metroidvania-style game, is going to be revealed here shortly, supposedly potentially at this State of Play event. About the 2.5D Metroidvania God of War title seems to be much smaller in scale than what I initially thought, said Tom Henderson. And then Jeff Grubb just added, yeah, as far as that game is concerned. So I am totally for this. You guys, this isn't the next mainline Sony Santa Monica Studio title, excuse me. It's not the Sony Santa Monica Studio mainline God of War title. However, a spin-off, a smaller scale game. I've been saying this forever as far as PlayStation having a litany of incredible IPs. Now, God of War is a franchise that sees consistent output, but there's opportunity to do smaller scale games. Not every game needs to be a $300 million intergalactic budget title. Not everything needs to be a gigantic open world game with 80 hours of content. We don't need that across the board. To bolster up your catalog of titles, you can do a smaller scale game. You can price it accordingly and look at the reception towards these $50 games. Now, a Metroidvania God of War title might be a little bit of a difficult sell at $50, but we'll see the gravitas of the game. I mean, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown came out at $50, but that game was kind of a disaster. Commercially, I thought that game, from a gameplay standpoint, was great. Promoting the game and how it was received commercially, just not a well done reception there. But a 2.5D God of War title, totally on board with that. And supposedly it's being supervised by Santa Monica Studio, and they're gonna be obviously focusing the main work on their upcoming titles. The project is basically God of War X Blasphemous. It's being developed under supervision of Sony Santa Monica Studio, set in Greece before Kratos becomes a god. Better art style than Hades is noted as well. I don't know about that one. Hades has a pretty slick art style. We'll see how that'll turn out. As far as how the game is received, I foresee some people just being like, this isn't the God of War that I know, but again, you have to assess the fact that this isn't the next mainline game. To bolster up their PlayStation catalog output, given that first party is so cooked from all of the live service games, it's a great way to do it. You outsource some of your IPs to other studios as well, that they can jump in and work on it, because it remains to be seen who's actually going to be developing this game, but handling it to a trusted development studio and then working on that, and then, the development cycle, hopefully, fingers crossed, isn't going to be as long. You kind of saw that with Spider-Man Miles Morales. It was a smaller scale game. It came out 2 years after Spider-Man 2018. That game sold incredibly well, and I would love to see more of those smaller scale games. I don't think everything needs to be either a live service game or a $300 million megaton project. I think Nintendo found a happy balance of everything, where they've got their bigger budget games, the games that are in development for a lengthy period of time, but they've also got games that are coming out very frequently and regularly. If you look at Nintendo as far as the regularity of their output, they are second to none as far as the console manufacturers. I mean, you could say with Microsoft's acquisitions, like, this year's kind of stacked for them, but I feel like Nintendo does a really good job as far as consistent output, but not every game is this megaton release. I think PlayStation could go on board with that. Just adding a couple of these games, I feel like, will bolster up the lineup quite a lot. Like 2 to 3 of the smaller scale games a year, that would add a lot, and it would also be interesting to see if this gets a PC release right away. I think that an argument could be made for the smaller scale games to get a PC release right off the rip, because they're not acting as system selling titles. The system sellers are going to be the Ghosts of Yotes. They're going to be the Marvel's Wolverines. They're going to be the Intergalactics. They're going to be, even Sorrows more so than a game like this. This is a smaller scale title that I think could be used as just giving the PlayStation audience something extra to sink their teeth into. And when people make their, oh my god, here's a montage of all the PlayStation games, or create their banners, that's just more games to add into that. And at the very least, it creates the illusion that the first party output is stronger than it is. But a game like this, I could see turning out very well. And again, we've seen so many times it played out throughout this year that not necessarily because a game has the biggest budget is going to turn out the best. You know, you look at these games like Callisto Protocol, Immortals of Aveum, the Wild Hearts of the world, you know, significant budgets attached to them. They don't turn out all too well, you know, as far as being $70 games from a sales standpoint. And then what happens? Layoffs, studio closures, etc., etc. And Santa Monica can prioritize working on whatever they're going to do next, whether that be the next mainline God of War game. There's the rumor of Cory Barlog's next title. I just think there's a lot of potential as far as games of this ilk. And, you know, games like this, remasters of games that are actually locked away in PS3 captivity, I think can add a repertoire to PlayStation's output that isn't necessarily the one or two major first-party titles that we're gonna cap out on the one or two at most. And these days it's cooked even more because, again, so many of the first-party titles were iced because they're live service games and they're trash and nobody cares about. Fair Game, you kidding me? Does anybody think Fair Game is gonna do as well as even a game like this? I get it. The idea of the nonsense live service games is, oh my god, we can make money off of them for years and years, but you can make, with the budget allocated to Concord and Fair Game, you can pump out so many games that are of this smaller scale, but utilizing IPs that are beloved. And now that you're doing PC releases as well, that's another avenue for you to generate even more revenue. We know Concord ain't gonna be generating extra revenue on that side of things. Yeah, it had a PC release right away, but a God of War Metroidvania, I think a PC audience would be absolutely interested in a game like that, or bringing back a Sly Cooper, bringing back some of these dormant IPs and not putting the dump truck of budget behind them, but they don't need to be that. Get some other smaller studios on board and you could potentially have them as a second-party title, however you want to define that. Just utilizing the IPs under your umbrella, there's so much potential. Even a smaller scale Infamous title, I think, would be exciting, or a smaller scale, I don't even know, just pull out whatever, Resistance, Killzone, whatever the case may be. I get that those games are more on the multiplayer side of things and they very much want to go the live service route of monetizing their, you know, multiplayer games for eons and eons, and that's how they see the money to be made on the multiplayer side of things. It's not about the Killzone experiences anymore, and I get that. And I even get why they do the things they do. I don't agree with it, but I can rationalize why Sony was so invested into Concord and Fair Game versus them doing a Killzone 2 remaster even. In their head, those are the games that are going to generate a lot more revenue. But you already took the L, take the L, move on, let's reallocate the funds a little bit, and I think there's potential to utilize a lot of these IPs in a far more intelligent way, and something like this. Again, this is something I think Sony should be doing much more of, and if you want to compare it to, like, a Metroid Dread, if this is a Metroid Dread-esque God of War experience, sign me up all day. It doesn't have to be 40 hours long. It could be a brief 8 to 12 hour experience, and I would still be on board with that. Price at $40, I mean, God of War is a big IP. Maybe you can scheme out a $50 price point, but I think $40 would be ideal for a game like this, and I think it would do really, really well. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.